The concept, a woman who controls her emotions will control the man, is often attributed to Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, sometimes inaccurately. Whether Jung actually coined this exact phrase remains debated, but the idea touches on deep psychological and social dynamics that have shaped human relationships for centuries. To thoroughly explore this concept, we must delve into the fields of emotional intelligence, power dynamics in relationships, Jungian psychology, and the broader implications for both women and men in modern society. Basically, this statement suggests that emotional regulation, the ability of a person to manage and respond to their emotions constructively, is a powerful tool. On the surface, it may make one think of manipulation, but a deeper understanding reveals a truth about inner strength, self-mastery, and influence. To understand this, we first need to consider what emotions are, how they function in our lives, and why mastering them can lead to a form of silent power. Emotions are the foundation of human experience. They are not just fleeting feelings, they are deeply connected to our thoughts, behaviors, and social interactions. Emotions can guide, protect, and sometimes overwhelm us. They are both ancient and instinctive, arising from the most primitive parts of the brain, but are also shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and relationships. The ability to understand and regulate emotions is at the core of what psychologists call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence includes several core skills: recognizing emotions in oneself and others, understanding the causes of emotions, using emotions to support thinking, and managing emotions to achieve goals. A person with high emotional intelligence can handle complex social situations, resolve conflicts, and inspire others. In relationships, emotional intelligence is often the deciding factor between harmony and conflict. Now, let's examine this idea through the lens of sexual dynamics. Throughout history, women have often been described as more emotional than men, a stereotype that has been used both to diminish women's power and to explain their supposed intuitive insights. However, research on emotional intelligence has shown that although women are often more sensitive to their own and others' emotions, this sensitivity can be a significant source of strength rather than a weakness. In relationships, emotions play a central role. Love, trust, jealousy, fear. These emotions can either bond people together or push them apart. Those who can remain calm and steady, even when facing emotional storms, often become a stabilizing force. They are less likely to be manipulated by feelings of guilt, anger, or insecurity, and are more likely to act with intention and clarity. True strength lies here, not in suppressing emotions, but in understanding and guiding them. Carl Jung's work focused extensively on the subconscious and archetypes that shape human behavior. He believed that both men and women possess masculine and feminine aspects within their psyche, which he called anima and animus. The anima represents the feminine aspects inside a man, while the animus represents the masculine aspects inside a woman. According to Jung, integrating these aspects leads to psychological wholeness. When a woman learns to master her emotions, she is not denying her feelings, but integrating the masculine aspect within her, the qualities of reason, decisiveness, and firmness, with her natural emotional harmony. This integration allows what Jung calls individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. A woman who has achieved a high level of individuation is not swayed by every fleeting emotion, nor does she suppress her feelings. Instead, she acknowledges them, understands them, and decides the best way to respond. This inner mastery naturally creates respect from others, including men. This is not about directly controlling others, but about becoming truly grounded and self-controlled to the extent that others are attracted by her calmness and strength. In a relationship, emotions can easily become tangled. Arguments, misunderstandings, and disappointments are inevitable. A partner who can stay calm, listen with empathy, and respond thoughtfully can break the escalating cycle and help both return to a state of connection. This is not about dominance, but about leadership, guiding the emotional tone of the relationship toward understanding and harmony. Moreover, emotional mastery can be incredibly attractive. In moments of crisis, fear, or uncertainty, people naturally gravitate towards those who exude calmness and confidence. This is true in romantic relationships as well as in family, friendships, and professional environments. A woman who controls her emotions sends a strong signal. She is not dominated by circumstances, nor does she need external validation to feel secure. This independence has a powerful allure. It is important to clarify that controlling your emotions does not mean suppressing them or pretending not to feel anything. Bottled up emotions can lead to resentment, anxiety, and even physical illness. Emotional control is truly about awareness and choice. It is the ability to recognize an emotion arising, anger, sadness, jealousy, and pause before reacting. In that moment of pause lies the power to choose a response, rather than being swept away by the emotion. For many women, the journey toward emotional mastery is not easy. Cultural conditioning often encourages women to be accommodating, to put others' needs above their own, and to avoid conflict. These stereotypes can make it difficult to set boundaries or express emotions. However, with awareness and practice, new habits can be developed. Mindfulness, therapy, journaling, and honest conversations with trusted friends can all help build emotional intelligence. The reward of this inner work is very profound. It not only leads to healthier and more fulfilling relationships, but also opens the door to personal satisfaction and growth. A woman who understands herself well and trusts her own feelings and judgments will be less dependent on the approval or affection of others. She can love freely without losing herself in the process. Let's also consider the broader impacts on men. The idea that women should be the emotional leaders in relationships places a burden on women, but can also be an invitation for men. Emotional intelligence is not solely the domain of women. Men must also learn to understand and manage their emotions. In fact, when both partners commit to this work, relationships become an equal partnership where both support each other's growth. Jung believed that integrating masculine and feminine qualities within each individual is essential for psychological health. For men, this may mean embracing vulnerability, empathy, and openness. Traits often associated with femininity, but important for all people. When both partners are emotionally mature, the relationship becomes a place of mutual respect, understanding, and growth. From a social perspective, developing emotional intelligence in both women and men can lead to healthier families, workplaces, and communities. Mastering emotions helps reduce conflict, enhance cooperation, and nurture resilience. It enables people to gracefully and flexibly overcome the inevitable challenges of life. There are also risks in misunderstanding or misapplying the idea of emotional control. If taken to an extreme, it can become a tool for manipulation, using emotional detachment to overwhelm or punish a partner. It can also lead to emotional suppression, where genuine feelings are denied or dismissed. The goal is not to become numb, but to become wise in the ways of the heart. The path to emotional mastery is not a straight line. There will be failures, moments of overwhelm, and times when old patterns reappear. This is part of being human. The key is to approach yourself with compassion and curiosity, seeing each challenge as an opportunity for growth. In practice, how does one train the ability to control emotions like that? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the factors that trigger your emotions. What situations or words usually cause you to react strongly? Where do you feel the emotions in your body? Do you clench your jaw, tense your shoulders, or feel your heart beating fast? These physical signals are valuable signs from your subconscious. The next step is acceptance. Instead of judging yourself for feeling angry, sad, or anxious, acknowledge that emotion. Name it. I'm feeling frustrated right now. This simple act of naming can create a distance, making it easier for you to observe the emotion rather than getting caught up in it. Then, try to understand the cause. Does this emotion originate from the present moment, or does it reflect past experiences? Are there any unmet needs or boundaries that have been crossed? Sometimes emotions are signals indicating that something important needs attention. Finally, choose how you respond. This is where true control lies. not in suppressing emotions, but in deciding how to act. Sometimes, expressing emotions clearly and directly is appropriate. Other times, it may be wiser to pause, reflect, and return to the conversation later.
This process requires practice. It is a skill, like any other skill, that can be developed over time. The rewards received are worth the effort. As you become more proficient in managing your emotions, you will notice changes in your relationships. Conflicts become less frequent and less stressful. Communication becomes clearer and more honest. Trust and intimacy are deeply strengthened.
The impact of emotional mastery goes beyond romantic relationships. In friendships, family, and the workplace, those who can remain calm and steady in the face of stress or conflict become natural leaders. People turn to them for guidance and reassurance. They have the ability to inspire confidence, resolve disputes, and promote cooperation. For women especially, developing this skill can be a form of quiet empowerment. In a world that often tries to define women through their emotions, sometimes praising emotional sensitivity, other times criticizing emotionality, the ability to master and navigate one's own emotions is revolutionary. It is reclaiming autonomy, a statement that I am the author of my own experience. This does not mean that vulnerability is a weakness. On the contrary, the courage to feel deeply and share those emotions with others is a sign of strength. Controlling emotions is not about building walls or hiding behind a shell. It is about wisdom, knowing when and how to share, and with whom. It is about authenticity, not performance. When you have a deeper understanding of your own emotions, you can also become more sensitive to the emotions of others. This empathy can be a powerful bridge, helping you build trust and intimacy. However, true empathy also requires boundaries. You can care deeply for others without taking on their emotional burdens as your own. In relationships, the balance between empathy and self-care is very important. It allows you to support the other person while respecting your own needs and boundaries. This prevents emotional dependence, where one person's mood or mental health is entirely reliant on the other. When a woman demonstrates this balance, when she is both generous and self-controlled, she becomes a role model for others. She inspires respect, not only from her partner, but from everyone around her. Her presence is felt, her voice is heard, and her influence is quiet but profound. It is also important to remember that mastering emotions is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. There will be moments of doubt, times when emotions seem overwhelming, and situations that challenge your self-control. These are opportunities for growth, not failures. Each time you choose awareness instead of reaction, compassion instead of judgment, and intention instead of impulse, you are strengthening your emotional muscle. For those beginning this journey, seeking support can be very helpful. Trusted friends, mentors, and therapists can provide guidance and perspectives. Books, workshops, and mindfulness practices can offer tools and inspiration. The key is to approach this process with patience and kindness toward yourself. Finally, the saying, "A woman who controls her emotions will control the man," points to a deeper truth. The one who controls their emotions will control their destiny. Mastering your emotions helps you gracefully overcome life's challenges, build relationships based on mutual respect, and become the fullest version of yourself. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, this inner stability is a precious and rare gift. It is the foundation of true confidence, creativity in expression, and meaningful connection. Whether in love, work, or personal development, emotional intelligence is the key that opens the door to possibilities. Let's not misunderstand this message as a form of manipulation or imposition. The goal is not to control others, but to lead by example. When you master your own emotions, you invite others to do the same. You create a space where honesty, openness, and trust can grow. You become a source of inspiration, not through power, but through presence. This is the essence of true power, not the authority to command or coerce, but the power to inspire, support, and create. It is the quiet strength that comes from self-understanding, trusting inner wisdom, and acting with intention. In the end, we are all works in progress. The journey toward emotional mastery is a continuous process of learning and growth. Each day brings new opportunities to practice awareness, compassion, and self-control. Every interaction is an opportunity to choose understanding instead of reaction, connection instead of conflict. When you walk on this path, remember that your emotions are not the enemy. They are guides, messengers, and sources of wisdom. By learning to listen to them, respect them, and navigate them wisely, you become the author of your own story. A woman who controls her emotions does not seek to control others, but to master herself. When she achieves that, she becomes a force of nature, calm amid the storm, steady in the face of uncertainty, and radiant in her authenticity. Her influence is not felt through domination, but through the quiet power of presence, integrity, and love. Let us strive together to achieve this mastery within ourselves and in our relationships. May we recognize the strength in vulnerability, the wisdom in emotions, and the power in self-awareness. And may we remember that true control is not about suppressing emotions, but about embracing them with courage, clarity, and compassion. In this way, we honor the wholeness of our humanity and open the door to deeper connection, understanding, and joy. The journey continues, the rewards are endless, and the possibilities are as vast as the human heart.